And today, it's only about 1% of the American population that lives on the farm and the ranch. That means that we've had to expand our agricultural output against a backdrop of ever shrinking labor forces. And so when you think about what happens in a modern row crop farm these days, whether that's corn or soy or whatever, it's already mostly automated. I mean, the very concept of mechanical planters and especially combines for putting the seed down and then harvesting the end result, that's largely automated. And what we've seen in the last decade, roughly, is even those things don't need to be driven anymore. If you step into a modern combine, you're going to feel like you're on the deck of a Star Destroyer in Star Wars. You've got readouts everywhere. It's GPS run, and the farmer's there for when things go wrong. I don't mean to suggest that they're just taking a nap behind the wheel, but a lot of the work is already programmed in. Once you harvest it, you get it into your truck, you then deliver it to an elevator where it's loaded automatically, hasn't been done by shovel for a very long time, and eventually ends up on a truck going somewhere or in a rail car where it goes into, say, a flour mill where the wheat is turned into flour automatically. They don't even bother turning the lights on. You then go into something like a bread factory, a bakery. Most of that is automated too. So there are tight spots in agriculture, but there aren't very many of them. Those happen primarily when you're talking about higher value added products, specifically meats and fruits and vegetables. So with meats, you have individual critters that are running around. They need to be managed, whether by horseback or on the back of an ATV. That is something we haven't figured out to automate. And if you remember back to your early civilizational lessons, the reason why man's best friend is dog is dogs are pretty good at managing herds, and we have yet to come up with something that's better than a canine. When you're talking about processing, you're also dealing with something where eyes and fingers are what we need. When you take a carcass and you process, you're doing one at a time, and each carcass is a little bit different. So we have found out that there are certain types of automation that we can include to look for occlusions and growths and things like that you don't want in your ground beef. And we have figured out how to move the carcasses through the facility, but you still need people hacking things apart. We made a bit of an advance during COVID when, for health reasons, we couldn't have people on the line, but it really probably only shaved 5 to 15% off of the manpowers necessary to make it all function. It's difficult for me to see the technology in its current form having a significant breakthrough in the next 20 years. Love to be surprised, but I don't see it. Then you're talking about fruits and vegetables. Here, it's an issue of a combination of identification and delicacy. Things like apples bruise pretty easily. Things like arugula have to be cut, or asparagus have to be cut at the right rate. And the visual recognition is getting better. And if we're going to have improvements in visual recognition, then, maybe we're talking about something, but there's 3 steps to it. You have to identify what needs to be cut and where. Number 2, you have to have a physical arm that can go out and grasp and sever it. And then 3, you have to be able to relocate that recently harvested whatever it is into the rest of the processing system. Here's the problem. When you do this on a line for manufacturing, you have a moving conveyor oftentimes that moves the product through in its intermediate form. And then your automated system is doing the same thing to every item, and you have humans and machines to a degree working in parallel, with the humans either maintaining the machines or going back and forth on the line doing the things that require a brain and fingers. The machines, even with AI, are pretty dumb. They might be able to do an individual step better than a human, but they can really only do that individual step. There are tens of thousands of individual steps. You can have machines doing a lot of that, but the product has to be brought to them. These facilities are not mobile. These machines are not mobile. When you're doing with agriculture, I'm sorry, but the apple tree is not going to rotate so that the fruit is facing the direction it needs to. You have to bring the machine to what you're harvesting. And that requires a degree of locomotion and energy intensity and programming that we just don't have yet. So incremental gains, sure. I would say probably apple harvesting is coming along the fastest in this regard. It's a relatively high capital industry, and as a rule, the apples are a different color from the tree when they're ready to be harvested. That provides a lot more visual cue. And when you have them weighing down, they separate from the leaf bundles a little bit. But if you want to do this for spinach, sorry, you need Guatemalans for that. And one of the things we're going to be seeing over the remainder of this year is a separation in terms of pricing between the parts of agriculture where maybe a degree of automation can help and those where it really can't. And unfortunately, the sectors within the United States that are most reliant on the irregular immigration that has become a political hot potato in this country are the ones that are actually least capable of being automated. So if you're in an area that imports its fruits and vegetables from elsewhere in the country, you're going to notice that at the grocery store. That's unavoidable at this point. Hey all, Peter Zine here, coming to you from Colorado. Today we're doing an educational video for folks who are of the MAGA crowd who are discovering that the Trump administration is changing policy pretty dramatically on them in the case of Ukraine. When Trump was running for president the third time to get his second term, are discovering that the Trump administration is changing policy pretty dramatically on them in the case of Ukraine. When Trump was running for president the third time to get his second term, he started repeating a lot of Russian propaganda about how the war was Ukraine's fault and Zelensky needs to go. Then he came in and discovered that things perhaps were not as he realized. So the point of this video is to explain to you what Trump has discovered.
I am making a video to prove to you that you are having a direct conversation with me, Elon, so you don't have to be scared about any of this. Everything is completely fine. I want you to clear all doubts and any skepticism. I am making a video to prove to you that you are having a direct conversation with me, Elon, so you don't have to be scared about any of this. Everything is completely fine. I want you to clear all doubts and any skepticism. I am making a video to prove to you that you are having a direct
What time is it in West Texas?
The time in West Texas, U.S.
Come up with a name for these compute tokens. Give me some examples. How about New Deal coin? Give some taglines. Yes. Yes. What is the equivalent of a justice of the peace in Texas, USA? Hey, Reese.
Hey man,
How you doing, bro? Little brother.
David,
Hello, Reese.
why does life suck so bad?
It's life is meant to be strenuous and difficult.
Like I know that the world doesn't owe me anything, you know.
Yeah.
I know that, but like, why, you know?
No man who ever led an easy life has led a noteworthy life.
Like they say that God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. You know, I'm not a soldier, you know.
Well, sometimes we get conscripted,
Yeah,
Reese.
God, because I need to talk to God, because God be giving me these fucking battles, bro, that I can't, you know.
But the night is just cold, but just before the dawn. Coldest, I mean.
I call you because I don't know, man.
I don't know
I feel like you
either.
don't
But it's good to
push
hear
me
your
out of
voice.
like
I missed you for a bit.
you're, you're the only person that can talk me out of fucking going on like a proper race war, like burning down mosques. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, man.
You know, these poor Muslims, they don't realize they're following false prophets, so
They do. I
a
think
lot
they
of them
know.
don't.
I think they know, man. They follow Satan.
Yeah,
They worship Satan.
I know, but you see, they worship the one who, the great deceiver.
Bro, even Muhammad, like the first time that it happened to him in the cave, Even he came back to the town and he was like, I was just possessed by a demon.
Yeah, wasn't it his
and
wife
and
that
they
convinced him that it was
yeah,
God?
they convinced him that it was a messenger of God.
Yeah,
A messenger of God doesn't suffocate you and squeeze you till you have nothing left. That's not what a messenger of God does.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I might not see you ever again, David.
What's going to
But I
happen?
love
Why
you.
not? What's
I
happening?
want to let you know I love you.
Rich, you can't end yourself.
Why?
That's the ultimate sin.
No, it's not.
You don't get to go to heaven if you end yourself.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. No, it's
Self-murder.
not. I'm not a Catholic.
Self-murder is still self-murder.
No, it's not. The only unforgivable sin is blasphemy of the Holy Spirit,
It's
and I've never blasphemed the Holy Spirit.
Reese, you can't self-murder. It's just not. You've got to do it in the most craziest way possible if you're going to. Self-murder. No self-murder. Stand by. Right minute.